Hey guys, excuse me, I'm a little bit out of breath because I'm here at the park just doing some walking, waking up a bit before I get my day going. I want to try to get over to the gym if they're open and may actually go and get my feet done today, but I've been posting some shorts about signs and synchronicities. How I've been seeing so many signs on people's t-shirts and signs and price tags, certain numbers and certain songs been coming on and just so resonant to what I'm going through. And the reason why I'm posting this stuff too is to help you all with a little bit of validation as well, because I'm sure y'all have been going through it also. Maybe you don't know what's going on, or maybe you do and just would like some confirmation in the matter. So yet more signs. So the other day, well, first off, let me say that, along with the world going through a change and we people on it, we're going through energetic shifts, consciousness upgrades and ascensions and spiritual awakenings and what have you. A lot of our places of employment have been changing as well, and I know mine, for example, is going through some big change with our computer system, and the logistics process, and it's been a bit of a learning curve for everybody. I, for the most part, picked up right on it. There's still some kinks to work out and things I need to get used to, but as all technology, it has its glitches. The kinks need to be worked out. Certain silly things happen, when once we were finished with certain orders, and we go to post and process the order. Sometimes maybe half of it will print out, and the other half is just being stubborn. It doesn't want to print, and just silly things like that. But I want to say how what was it, Wednesday when I got to work. Wednesday was the first day that we were going to actually start using the new system, and we had been pretty much our processing was shut down Monday and Tuesday and half of Wednesday. We were doing a spring cleanup, basically the entire building. We were all having to do our part and pitch in and do our share of cleaning, which a lot of it was years worth of dust and cobweb accumulation, and you name it. But anyway, I get to work Wednesday. I work second shift, and I guess day shift, morning shift, I don't know what they did. It didn't seem like they did anything. I think they were trying to get things to the point where we could get them up and running again for second shift, my shift, when we got there. But the first few hours was completely dead in the water. It was so strange because as I got there, I found myself sitting there on my forklift, just sitting there. There was nothing to do, guys. I was literally sitting there looking around at everyone else and just watching them. I was completely aware, but everybody else seemed not to be. It was almost like, it's bad enough we're coming into a new system, a computer system, a whole new processing outfit there, but at the same time, it's like the people, my coworkers as well, were not yet up and running. I'm looking at them all, and it's like they were just running around so confused, like not knowing what was going on. In my mind, it was as if I'm looking at everybody as if they were in a holding pattern, like they too were updating, like they were loading, and they were not yet switched on. And it was so strange because that's exactly the point we're at with the new system. But the people were in the same way. And again, me being completely aware, and I'm sitting there just watching all this taking place. I had absolutely nothing to do, and I was getting really bored. This went on for about 3 hours. The first 3 hours I was there, all I could do was sit there, pretty much in one spot, move my location from time to time to try not to get, bickered at by any supervisor, like, what are you doing? You need to find something to do, blah, blah, blah. So I'd find new hiding spots and just hanging out. And, one of my other coworkers happened to drive by, and he stopped and he just started laughing because him too. He saw it. He saw it. It was just like one big ball of confusion there. Nobody knew what was going on. People were not operating. The computer system was not operating. And we were just sitting there just waiting for, basically the switch to be switched on, which includes our coworkers. And it was all so strange. I had actually posted something about this on my Facebook page just yesterday. And I used those exact words, how I was sitting there completely aware, watching people completely confused, waiting to be switched on as if they were loading, being updated, waiting to be switched on to go about their daily business and routines. And guys, last night, before one of my supervisors went home for the day, because she's been staying late to help things get up and running and help us push through it so it could be more efficient, and try to avert any type of mistakes or anything, which are going to happen anyway. It's a learning process. But she asked me what size t-shirt I wanted, so I told her, and she said she hands me a t-shirt which everybody got, and they would like us all to wear them on Monday. But remember what I just said about how it was like everybody there, aside from me and maybe one other person, it seemed like they were updating, like they were loading, and they needed to be switched on. So she hands me this t-shirt, and I open it up and I look at it, guys, and you know what it said on it? Just another sign. It basically said exactly what I just told you guys, exactly what I witnessed happening there. It says on the shirt something along the lines of updating. It says loading, loading with the little loading, symbols on it. And it says together we move forward. Together we update, or something along those lines. But I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, really? The day after, when I witnessed it all, and then I made a post about it on my Facebook, and then I'm handed a t-shirt that basically says exactly what I witnessed. Like, my take on things. And it's like, it can't, I can't make that up. What are the odds? What are the odds? It's amazing. It's amazing. At the same time, it can be confusing, because as I'm 49 years old now, and my entire life, as I've lived along, struggling through life, through hardships and everything else, I always felt deep inside that looking around at life, looking around at society and the world, like always feeling deep down inside that this just can't be it. Like there must be something more. There must be something deeper to all of this. Like there has to be a much deeper meaning to it. And lo and behold, apparently there was, and there is. And that deeper meaning to all of it is, it's starting to play out now. This whole spiritual awakening everyone's going through, and how the system, the matrix, it's all changing. It's being reprogrammed, so to speak. But I see it happening. The frustrating part is, the holding pattern most of us are in. We're all waiting for something. There are many of us that are chosen energies. We are chosen by the higher power for very specific paths, very specific tasks. We were placed on this earth to carry out. Though we don't know what that is exactly yet. As I said, we're being kept in this holding pattern, and it can be very frustrating, guys, because I've known this for about an entire year now. Okay, I was meditating one day about a year ago, and I was sitting alone in my room with the lights out, and I had my eyes closed. It was complete silence in there, and I had a vision. And it's not something I thought up, because when I meditate, I put my mind completely blank so that I can go into complete relaxation. But this vision was put in front of me, and it was as if I was really there. It was almost like I was watching television, but I was there. I was looking around. I was in my body inside this vision, and I was actually driving a specific vehicle. I was traveling somewhere. I knew where I was traveling to, and I was going to carry out certain tasks, which would have included helping others in some very big ways. A lot were people that I have known from the past. But guys, the second that vision ended, and I'm not making this up, you might not believe me, but this was the first time this has ever happened to me. I didn't even know it was possible. People talk about telepathy and things like that. I don't know if that's what it was, but the second that vision ended, like immediately, the second that vision ended, I heard an audible voice in my left ear. It said one word to me, and it was like an angelic female type of voice. It said, timing. Guys, it was so clear. It was as if somebody was standing next to me, but not really. It was like inside my ear, or like it was in my head, but I actually heard it. It was like somebody was standing there and said it. It said, timing. This means that means divine timing, okay? That vision I was being shown is going to happen. I will be doing that in divine timing. But being that this was a year ago, still sitting here and waiting, that's the frustrating part, because we don't know when. We don't know when divine timing is. Everything outside of us, in reality, in society, everything needs to be lined up, according to God's plan. Everything has to be very specific. People need to be placed where they need to be placed. things need to be lined up, how they need to be lined up, so on and so forth. So I know what's coming to me. I know what my life is going to be. But again, the hard part is waiting for it. We're kept in these holding patterns, knowing, what we're headed to, knowing partially what our destiny may be, but having to wait for it is the difficult part. But what's important is that we need to have gratitude and be grateful that is what is coming for us and to us, and that's what we are meant for. But yeah, I mean, it's almost unbelievable. It really is. All my life, how I always felt like there must have been something deeper, something more to this life, to this reality, to what we see every day. And truth be told, that there actually is just completely astounding to me. Like, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Life couldn't have just been so plain and boring, like seeming like it was all for no reason. Like, I knew there had to be something more, a bigger reason for this existence. And there is. And soon enough, very soon, I believe within this year of 2026 is when it will all actually start going into play. When we all will be actually on our true paths and carrying out our true purposes. And we can only be so grateful for that, guys. Really. Little things we may be angry about or upset about and sad, and things that haven't gone right for us, and our lives may not be the way we want them to be. It is important that we realize and think about how much worse it can actually be. Think about, those people over in other countries that are currently going through war, and people are dying, they're being bombed and blown up, or people going through famine and hunger, and they're starving, and there's just so much horrible things going on out there in the world, and we know it, but because we can't see it, it's like out of sight, out of mind. And we can be so ungrateful that we sit here and be angry and feel sorry for ourselves because our lives aren't going a certain way, or because we aren't rich yet, or we aren't driving a Lamborghini or a Ferrari maybe yet. Some people don't ever get that. We might not get that either, but the most important part is that we have to accept our lives. We have to accept the way things are and actually have gratitude for what we do have, rather than complaining about what we don't have. Because compared to many other people in the world, as I was just saying before, guys, we actually have it made compared to them. Think about how they must feel if they were to see our lives and look at us, and as they're going through their struggles. To them, they may look at us and we may look like the kings and queens living up in the castle, and they're the peasants living out in the courtyard. We have to be grateful. We have to have gratitude and be thankful for what we do have, even if it's not much, because it can always be worse. It could always be so much worse. Be thankful that you're even breathing right now. Be thankful that you have your eyesight. Be thankful that you have your hearing so that you can enjoy things like music, so that you could see things like wildlife and flowers and running water, and green grass and forests and birds and trees. And, there's so much more in life to enjoy and appreciate instead of just sitting around and being a sourpuss because you're not driving around in a Ferrari or whatever. With that being said, I need to finish my walk and get on with my day. So hopefully this resonated with you all and maybe even helped a little bit. So I hope you guys have a great weekend. It's a beautiful day out here where I am. It's supposed to be around 80 degrees or so today, so definitely going to be going out in nature today too to get my fill and recharge. So you should all do so also. Being out in nature, guys, really, it helps calm you. It really does. It helps ground you, and it helps you think and appreciate things, and also clear your mind to get a lot of that clutter out of there that doesn't need to be there, because it really doesn't need to be there. All that stress, all that clutter, you need to figure out how to let it go, because all it's doing is breaking you down. All right, guys. You guys have a great weekend, okay? Enjoy your time, and try and be positive. Try and be happy. All right. Love you all. God bless.